Chris has been bullied by many people, but this time around, it's his time to stand up for himself. But the outcome may turn out differently than how he expected. The episode started out with Chris talking about where he has to avoid bullies, one of them being Tanya. She ate a piece of Drew's food and immediately blamed Chris. Now there's no possible way for him to do that without anyone seeing him reach across that table and get a piece of food. As soon as Tanya told Rochelle to get the belt, Chris was gone, and I don't blame him. Things didn't stop there either. A new freshman started bullying him too. She disrespected Chris right away. She brand new there and started picking on him. Meanwhile, Rochelle was telling the family that she's going to be gone for a work trip. She's still trying to get laid off, but she's going to take that free trip first. One of the reasons that she's going is because the retreat is right next to the factory that makes the chocolate turtles that we know she likes so much. Especially if you've seen the previous version of the show.
Turtles! I ain't got my turtles!
She let Drew and Tanya know if something happens to tell Chris. Julia said they got it handled. I guess she didn't want to say him because he's going to be working. Since she is leaving, he asked her to pick up some stuff while she was there. You know he's cheap. He wanted her to get some hotel towels, pillows, and a robe. Let's just say she got them, but they didn't make it back. If she did, Julius probably would have saved about $30 to $40 with everything combined. Back at the school, Chris noticed a flyer Principal Morello put up about some DJ auditions. If you watched the earlier episodes of the series, Chris kind of DJ'd for a little bit. He did pretty good, and of course, Principal Morello said he would be the perfect candidate to DJ at the school dance because he's black. I was like, she walked away at first. She was supposed to be putting up some more flyers, not walking back while he was thinking about DJing. Soon as Greg heard all of that, all he could think about was being Chris's hype man. He can't even hype people up for lunch. How you gonna hype people up at a dance? Now at the house, Julius is having a good dream. He thinking about them hotel towels and the hotel toilet. Tanya had woke him up letting him know that her throat hurts, and he didn't want to take her to the hospital at first because he said doctors don't listen to people like us. From there, Julius decided that he was going to try out some home remedies, and it didn't go too well. While that was happening, Chris showed up looking for some records. He didn't find the ones he was looking for because Julius had to sell them to fix the fridge. I don't know what Chris talking about. Sure, those records could have came in handy or they would have been worth some money in the future, but everybody got to have some fresh and healthy food. He did manage to get some records together and was on his way to tryouts. Greg was still trying to be his hype man. He was talking about how some of the DJs get trampled and he could protect him. Do we need to go through some of the episodes where Greg leaves Chris to get beat up? Right when they got to the classroom, Chris seen the freshman DJing and her standards for getting the crowd hype was not too good. But it was good enough for the judges, I guess, and when she saw Chris, she started disrespecting him again, saying he was on welfare. You know Principal Morello not gonna say nothing, she probably said it before. Chris took them records and was about to go home. If he don't go back in there and show them that he got skills, man, Chris was sorta kinda the best beginner DJ out there, even though it was a short career. He was waiting at the bus stop and he ran into someone named Marcus who was looking for a DJ for a party. Chris was so used to getting bullied that he thought he was going to take his records at first, but he gave him a job, so I guess the day wasn't all that bad. At home, Julius is not telling Rochelle what's going on and is faking like everything is okay. And for some reason, the pot caught on fire when Drew was trying to make some soup. Did nobody teach him how to cook? I don't understand how that catches on fire so quickly when he's trying to cook. Now, Julius got no other choice but to take Tanya to the hospital, and it was going to be a long wait. I think we all been to a place where you got to take a number and it's probably the farthest one that they about to call. Julius got B99. They were on the letter A and number 18. They haven't even switched to another letter yet. Throughout his time there, he was trying to think of what Rochelle would do and it wasn't working out for him. As far as Drew goes, he picked up one of the doctor's coat and he was getting free soup and they thought he was a real doctor, which he was trying to escape from. Julius finally called Rochelle and told her what was really going on. She told him what works for her, and he has to work with what he has. Back to Chris, the party he's DJing at may not have been what he expected, but he did a good job DJing. After the party, Chris is getting some food with Marcus and his friends, and here comes the freshman that's been bullying him. She said some stuff, but Marcus and his friends started making fun of them, and they got out of there so fast that Chris thought they got eliminated. After seeing that, Chris had asked them to teach him how to stand up to the bullies, and they agreed. But Chris got a DJ the next party for free, so no money this time. They all start giving Chris some advice on how to talk about other people. They even paid a delivery guy $5 to help out. Chris wasn't doing too well trying to talk about him. Marcus and his friends started saying something, and that delivery guy had enough and left. I understand, for only $5, they should have paid him more if he got to sit there and get talked about. Once Marcus told Chris he gets why everybody hates him, Chris finally stood up for himself. That might have been a push that he needed. They were talking about Chris on purpose so that he would finally say something back. Now, since Julius told Rochelle what happened earlier, she's catching as many rides as she can to get back home. And one of the things that Julius asked for, which was the robe, she had gave to someone else to get a ride home, or at least as far as they could take her. I know he was counting on getting that robe. He was dreaming earlier about the hotel towels. Bruh, he probably had another dream about having that robe. Meanwhile, Chris is at school and some people were repeating what they heard about him earlier, and Chris immediately started talking back. They quickly left and one of them hurried up and said not to talk about him. The real test is him going against that freshman at the dance. Over at the hospital, Julius did what he knows best. He knows how to fix things. The person at the desk recognized the work that Julius did and they were able to get Tanya some help. It's time for the dance and Chris wasted no time. He started going in talking about Katie and she ran off the stage. They didn't have a DJ now, so Chris took over DJing. The crowd was having fun, so much fun that Chris got trampled. And where was Greg? Leaving. Once again, he not protecting nobody but himself. Talking about he was going to protect Chris if he ever got trampled. Caruso showed up and he had to get the last stomp in. It was for his sister, Katie. So that freshman that Chris was talking about and got bullied by was actually Caruso's sister. That's hilarious. I don't think any of us knew that he had any siblings, but now it is a good opportunity to add them in. And that's one of the things that I like about this show, them expanding more on the characters already in the show. And I guess how she acted, you could probably tell that that was Caruso's sister or somehow related to him. Chris got to go to the hospital, and speaking of that, Rochelle showed up and Julius told her Tanya will be fine. She just has to get a tonsillectomy. I do like the moment Julius and Rochelle had. He apologized for not telling her what happened. It's just he isn't on dad duty and didn't want to mess up her trip the one time he was. And she understood that everything they go through is them being parents and that he's a great dad. At the end of the day, all he can do is the best he can and make sure that their children are good, which he did. And glad Rochelle was there for him, knowing that he was looking out for her and doing what he could to help out Tanya. Also, what's funny is Chris being brought in and Rochelle was wondering where Chris was at and Julius was like, he's good. Tanya actually saw him in the hallway and tried to tell them that she saw Chris. They thought since she got out of surgery, the drugs that she was on was strong. While at the hospital, Chris ran into Marcus and he was a little mad at Chris that he wasn't there to DJ at his party. Chris did apologize and he told him that he made Katie cry. Marcus let him know that he didn't have to go that far, that it makes him no better than a bully. Which is true, even though they do push Chris, it's not all the way right for him to go as far as he did. Then Marcus was being nice and told him that he would call a doctor and Drew showed up with some type of utensil. And I don't know what he did, but he did some damage or something. Bruh, Chris is always getting hurt in the nuts. This time was probably worse. He only went in there because he got trampled. Now he probably got to stay longer. Overall, I thought it was a solid episode. It was good that Chris stood up for himself, even though he may have taken things too far. Julius used what he's good at to be able to help out Tanya and make sure that she was good. And Rochelle, even though she was on a free trip and right next to the factory that makes her favorite chocolate, she did everything she could to make it back home to check on Tanya. But I'm interested to hear y'all thoughts. Comment below. What did you all think about the episode?